I'm Norm Poltenson, the publisher of the Business Journal. I'd like to share a thought with you about our environment of low interest rates. We hear from Ben Bernanke, the Fed chairman, that we have low interest rates because we're trying to boost the economy, get people to invest, and bring us out of this recession that we're in. And there are a number of winners he keeps pointing out. If you happen to have a mortgage, it's great. You're paying very low interest rates. And if you have a mortgage, you want to refinance, you can go ahead and do that and save a lot of money. If you're an exporter, we have quantitative easing, which is a very fancy name for printing money. And what that does is to lower the cost of the export, so the exporters are very happy. Bankers, to some degree, are happy because there's a lot of money sloshing around out there, and they have used that money in many cases to repair their balance sheets. Large corporations, which can borrow all the time, are extremely happy because the interest rates are low, so they're making major investments. And the one thing Ben doesn't share with us is the fact that government is ecstatic because interest rates are practically zero for them, which means they can go on spending money and borrowing money and paying very little for it in the short term. I'll put that in boldface. What Ben does not share with us is the fact that there are losers in this economic environment. Let's start with the savers and investments. Do you have a savings account? Do you have any kind of a money market fund account? And when you look at your monthly statements, it's less than inspiring to see the kind of interest rates that you're receiving. What if you live on a fixed income? And you assumed that you were going to get a certain return, you could live on it comfortably, and now you suddenly find that all your plans have gone down the drain. What if you're a baby boomer who's getting ready to retire and he looks at this environment, or she looks at this environment and says, I can't live this way, and so they continue working. Interesting dilemma, because what about all the unemployed who are looking for jobs? Normally, people leave the workforce and new people come in, and those who are already in the workforce who are looking to move up the ladder find that their opportunities for advancement are blocked because the older baby boomers are not retiring in the same numbers you would expect them to. I mentioned that banks are happy because they're getting a lot of money, but they're also very unhappy because there's no spread basically between the money they're borrowing at zero and what they're paying, what they're getting from the investments in their treasury bonds, so their yield curve is extremely flat. And that has a real impact on you as a consumer. When you had all those free checking accounts in the past, and now you find that there are a lot of free checking accounts no longer available, or your balance has to be a lot higher than it was in the past. Life insurance companies are not terribly happy because they typically invest the money you give them for the policy in mortgages, bonds, and other types of securities. If the returns are low on that, what are their options? They can either reduce the value of the policies that they're giving you, they can charge more for them, or they'll simply live with the fact that their returns are going to be substantially lower. What about our taxpayers? Ben never mentions those. We have state governments who are funding defined benefit plans in which the return is guaranteed to the state employees who are retired and who are anticipating retirement. So how are those funded? Well, you make an expectation, and if the returns are less than you expected, the taxpayers get to cough it up. And that's what they've been doing lately. So we finally turn to the consumers, and if you've bought anything lately, you know that the price of commodities has risen substantially in this low interest environment. So let's add up the winners, add up the losers, and look at it and say, this is not exactly the way it's being portrayed to us as a great environment. There are a lot of losers in this environment, and my feeling is there are more losers than there are, frankly, winners. So I would hope that some of us would have a conversation and say that there are really two sides to this story. And if you're a loser, I think you should make your voice known. I'm Norm Poltenson. Thanks for listening.